After the chaos in Baku, the Formula One world's attention now turns to Singapore. The race in the heart of the Asian metropolis is traditionally considered one of the toughest tests for drivers, teams, and technology. And that's exactly why in 2025 it will be more than just another chapter in the World Championship. It will become a crucial test for Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, and the entire McLaren camp. The decisive question is Max Verstappen really back in the title race? The mere fact that this question must be taken seriously again is a slap in the face for McLaren. Just 3 weeks ago, the championship battle seemed decided. Piastri had a 104-point lead over the Dutchman. Verstappen himself publicly spoke of having no realistic chance of victories anymore. And yet, everything changed. With wins in Monza and Baku, he gained 35 points on the Australian in just 2 races. The gap now stands at 69 points. Large enough to remain realistic, but small enough to rekindle hope. Before we dive deeper, what do you think? Is Verstappen back in the game or is he just bluffing? Write it in the comments. That Red Bull was strong in Monza could still be explained by the track characteristics, low downforce, high speeds. That suited the RB21. But Baku was the real surprise. There too, Verstappen dominated from pole to finish, even though the layout should have exposed more technical weaknesses. This indicates that the latest upgrades, especially the new floor package, are showing results. The decisive question now is whether these improvements will also hold up on a high downforce circuit like Singapore. For Piastri, Singapore comes at the wrong time. His weekend in Baku was a disaster. Power unit problems on Friday, crashes in qualifying, and then the decisive mistake at the start that led to the race ending in the wall. For the first time this season, the Australian remained pointless. Not only did his streak of 44 finishes end, but the image of the ice-cold Piastri also showed cracks. For the first time, he appeared vulnerable, unfocused, fragile. His strength so far had been consistency, combined with a remarkably level-headed approach. No euphoria with victories, no despair with setbacks. This is exactly the quality he will need now. Because if he makes another mistake and Verstappen wins in Singapore, the championship battle could open up completely. Not only for the Dutchman, but also for Lando Norris, who is only 25 points behind his teammate. And thus McLaren as a team is also under pressure. Actually, they could have already secured the Constructors' Championship in Baku with a historic record. But instead, the team experienced one of its most chaotic weekends in recent years. Technical problems, driver errors, and an inadequate pit stop strategy cost valuable points. Now in Singapore, a podium finish by one McLaren driver would be enough to secure the title. But right now, when nerves are frayed, one question becomes louder. Will McLaren break under the weight of its own dominance? Meanwhile, other names are returning to the spotlight. Carlos Sainz sensationally took 3rd place in Baku for Williams, the team's first podium since George Russell in Belgium 2021. Such results show that the midfield has moved dangerously close to the top. Teams like Williams, Racing Bulls, or even Haas are capable of exploiting gaps when the top teams make mistakes. This creates additional tension in Singapore, where the tight circuit has often produced surprise podiums. And then there's the physical challenge. No other race demands as much from drivers as Singapore: tropical heat, extreme humidity, and a race that almost always lasts close to 2 hours. Even small concentration errors can have fatal consequences. In the history of the Singapore GP, there has been at least one safety car almost every year. Only 2024 was the exception. This means whoever wants to survive this night at Marina Bay needs more than just speed. They need mental strength, physical endurance, and the luck not to make a mistake. The stage is thus set. Verstappen senses his opportunity. Piastri is under observation. Norris wants to finally seize his chance. And McLaren cannot afford another slip-up. Singapore won't give answers, it will force them. While Verstappen and Piastri are in focus, Lando Norris must not be forgotten. The Briton is driving his strongest Formula One season, appearing more mature, consistent, and aggressive than ever. And yet, he remains the man in the shadows, always a step behind Piastri, always just short of being on par with Verstappen. In Singapore, this could change. Because if McLaren truly finds the pace they had in summer, then this is perhaps Norris's last chance to seriously pressure Piastri. With a 25-point deficit, he urgently needs a top result to establish himself as an equal challenger. If he misses this opportunity, he will likely be permanently relegated to a supporting role in McLaren's internal title battle. The problem? Norris also didn't convince in Baku. 7th place was a disappointing result that cannot be explained solely by strategic errors. Small lapses in concentration, weak qualifying laps, a failed pit stop. The overall package simply wasn't championship-worthy. The Briton must show that he has the mental strength to fight back after setbacks, because a second weak weekend in a row could catapult him out of the championship fight. Ferrari, meanwhile, comes to Singapore with its own problems. In Baku, they experienced a weekend to forget. Hamilton in 8th, Leclerc in 9th, the maximum the red car could deliver. But far more serious was the internal dynamic. When Hamilton was unwilling to give the position back to Leclerc shortly before the race end, a conflict erupted that could heavily burden the atmosphere in Maranello. Although they tried to downplay it publicly, it's clear in the paddock. Ferrari has a leadership problem. The drivers don't trust each other, and the team seems unable to enforce clear rules. Singapore could become a breaking point. A strong qualifying result would be mandatory to at least temporarily calm the fans, but expectations are low. Yuki Tsunoda is also under massive pressure. His 6th place in Baku was undoubtedly his best weekend in a long time. But compared to Verstappen and even Lawson, it was too little. The Japanese driver is no longer fighting for a Red Bull seat. That door has long been closed. For him, it's only about staying in Formula One. With Isaac Hadjar ready to jump into the A-team and Arvid Lindblad as an upcoming rookie, things look bleak. If Tsunoda doesn't deliver several top results in the remaining races, he will likely not find a seat for 2026. Alpine would be a theoretical option, but there are enough talents there too. In fact, Tsunoda in Singapore isn't just racing for points, but for his career. Beyond the personal fates lies the bigger picture. McLaren could secure the Constructors' title this very weekend. A podium would suffice to take away any remaining hope from Mercedes and Ferrari. For team principal Andrea Stella, this would be the crowning achievement of a season that has been almost perfect sportingly so far. But at the same time, the fear grows that internal tensions between Piastri and Norris could destroy the momentum. Title wins in Formula One are rarely harmonious. They usually leave wreckage. Singapore itself will intensify these tensions further. The extreme conditions, the long race duration, the tight walls, all this ensures that mistakes are inevitable. Here it becomes clear who truly keeps their nerves. Red Bull has often shown weaknesses on this very circuit in the past. Verstappen is still waiting for his first victory in the city-state. McLaren, on the other hand, has good memories. Norris won here confidently last year. Piastri at least made it to the podium. If McLaren manages to rediscover this form, Verstappen's mini comeback could quickly evaporate. But what if not? What if Verstappen also wins in Singapore and thus extends the series to 3 consecutive victories? Then the pressure on McLaren would rise to immeasurable levels. A 69-point lead sounds comfortable, but 7 races and 3 sprints are a long time. Even small mistakes can accumulate, and Verstappen has proven more than once that he is capable of turning seemingly hopeless title battles around. The stage is thus set. A 3-way championship battle between Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen. A McLaren team that is close to the Constructors' triumph but appears nervous. Ferrari sinking in its own chaos, and Tsunoda fighting for his future. Singapore won't just be another night spectacle, it will be the stage where it's decided whether the season takes its predictable course, or whether we're facing one of the greatest dramas in modern Formula One. One thing is certain, whoever fails in Singapore loses more than just points. They lose momentum and perhaps the championship. The